Hey, you're out in the garage with EZGZ. It's just been a snowy, cold, winter-like week. Here it is, the second week of May, 2019. And I'm wanting to put miles on this buggy, and it's just been miserable weather. And this is a fair weather car. I've said this many times. It's a real fun car to own and have, but it's a pain in the neck to climb in and out of, and the weather will always get you, especially if you live someplace like Colorado where it changes so quickly. But I still have not been resting on my laurels. What do you think of these tires I got on the car right now? They're a little bit wider. They appear to be a little bit wider. The one on the left is what I have been running, and it's on a 6-inch rim. When I built this car, I bought these centerline wheels. I bought 4-inch for the front and 6-inch for the rear. And somewhere along the line, I acquired some 10-inch centerline wheels. But I always felt that it was not a good idea to put them on, because just the way everything worked out, and of course finding the right tire and so on and so forth. And I'm noticing as I'm driving around with the new 1776 single port, that it's so much quieter not having dual carburetors, and I'm gonna hopefully come up with a better air cleaner arrangement, although this one is adequate for in-town driving. I took the stinger off just to see what this thing would sound like. I was gonna take the muffler back off of the Baja, but I thought, hey, before you do that, or spend more money and buy something else and then find out you don't like it, just stick this on there and see how it feels. I didn't even solder the crack. I'm thinking of flipping it over and changing the inlet and outlet and welding up that crack. But we're gonna go for a ride today. I don't care. I'm all bundled up. I got my coat on. I was gonna do this yesterday, and doggone, I got to the end of the driveway and it started raining. So it's just, nothing's working for me. So now, if anybody can follow me on what I'm thinking for these tires, I'm gonna have to watch this video after I make it just to keep track of what I think I want to do. We're gonna go on this ride. I'm jonesing to do this. And in this bad weather, I need something to do or I'll go crazy. So, or I'll be spending money. That's always the problem. So, these, just so you can follow that there is some kind of sanity and logic still left in my brain. This tire and this wide 5 white rim came with my sandrail. Okay? This tire and wheel won't fit on the sandrail because it's too close to the shock absorbers. It'll stand there. You could trailer it. You could leave it sit there all winter, whatever you want to do, but you wouldn't want to drive it in harsh terrain because the tire is going to come up and the wheel, and they're going to hit that Fox shock and ruin it. You can't take that chance. So I had them out here under the car in case the tires went flat over the winter. This would hold them up. So I'm getting ready to take the sandrail in the garage and do some things to it, get it ready for the summer. And I'm looking at these tires and I thought, wow, this just looks like a big tire. And I'm looking at the side of it, and it's a big O. It says 30 by 9.5. And I'm thinking, that number sounds familiar. So I just put them on the car. And I says, okay, yeah, you know, it looks kind of cool. You know, I like that toy look. This is not practical. It's going to cost me mileage. It costs you horsepower to turn this big thing. It's like having 2 big monster flywheels on there. This is the steel wheel, and it's like, you know, there was nothing the matter with that nice looking 6-inch center line that matches the front. So I'm thinking to myself, 30 by 9.5, 30 by 9.5. Well, I took these wheels off the back of the Baja recently. I've been running these things for years on the back of the Baja, and these are 30.9.5, but they're on an 8-inch wheel. And I've got a 2-liter in there. It's like turning your car into a freeway flyer, okay? So now I'm thinking, I thought about this earlier. This is a center line 10-inch wheel. And this I used to run in my sand car, and I had the paddle track, desert track type tire here that works sand and pavement, works on anything really. So I thought, okay, before I start swapping all these tires and wheels, I got to figure out if I'm going to be happy with this thing, or is it going to work at all, okay? Because we've got a smaller engine here, but we've got that single port, which is claimed to have more torque and low end, and we're running a stock cam with a little baby carburetor, so it might not be a bad combination. And even still, if I take, okay, the plan would be to take this tire, which is 30 by 9.5, and mount it on this aluminum wheel, which is 10 inches wide. It has that deep dish look. It's in pretty bad shape, but I think if I get some wet dry sandpaper, it'll clean up. It's really going to be hard between the rivets there, but I still think it might clean up okay. You know, I'm just thinking. So I would not do anything with these wheels and tires, because they could be still used on the sand rail for parking it for extended periods of time, or put back on this car. They don't have balance weights on them. They were used. The tires that were on these rims were just rotting off, and when I was coming back from California and had problems with my trailer, I stopped at a big O. These guys had these and mounted them up for me, because I thought I was going to just be having a turnkey car, take care of a little carburetor problem, and then be buzzing around. It took me a year to get that thing in shape. So that way, these tires, I don't know. I might take these tires, which are a little bit smaller. They're a 235/75, and I might put those on these 8-inch wheels for the Baja. That's a lot of tire changes. And you know, you can get these 4-bolt wheels balanced any place, but these wide 5, nobody with modern balancing machines that I know of, none of the tire places around where I live can balance that wheel. They don't even have the static balance where you did the bubble balance. Remember years ago? There's somebody's probably got one. They probably sell them at Harbor Freight, or I could probably do it, figure out some way. I usually just put them on the front wheel, and the heavy spot will settle to the bottom if I got the bearings adjusted loose, and then I'll just put weights on the opposite side until it quits doing that, and if it's a lot of weight, I'll split the difference. So anyhow, all this amounts to, we're going to go for a ride. It's still going to be rainy for the next week, but it's supposed to be nicer in the afternoons. But I want to get this tire thing done, and I need to get a video up for you guys for the weekend. So I think we're just going to hop in this baby, and we're going to go for a putt around the lake. And I also want to get a shorter storage box. This is 32 inches wide, and I've used it like this for years because it was weatherproof, but now I want something shorter. I want something I can just throw my yoga bag in. I got my yoga blanket and mat, and sometimes Mary and I will go in this to a yoga class, so they'd both fit in there. And I just want to do some different things here, because I have to do things constantly or I go nuts. So we're going to go up to the store, and hopefully, I haven't really put together my video yet for the coil testing, and I want to make some comments about some oils and what I'm doing and what I plan to do on the oil situation. I also have it's an MSD multi-spark ignition block that somebody had on a Volkswagen, and I don't know if it's any good. We might do some playing. We might hook up something in the bench, and we might do some deeper discussions on these 009 distributors and vacuum distributors and the spark. I want to get up some sort of a little test bench to demonstrate it and show it and see for myself, because I just like doing that sort of stuff. And before I get any of that, I need to get everything out of the garage so that I can get things squared away over here and put away. I need to get that stupid washing machine out of here because I'm not worried about it freezing, and it's a lot to do. Need to get my cherry picker broke down. I want to get my 2110 or this other engine up on the engine stand. I've already got some new plans for another engine build. I love doing this stuff. We're going to talk about this oil filter. Yeah, there's a lot of material here, and one of the recommended videos that came up the last couple of days while it was snowing was this brand new to the United States Royal Enfield 650 twin motorcycle. They have come up with a I remember those Royal Enfields, BSA, Triumph, Norton Commando. Guy I work with had a Norton Commando 750. It was all kickstart, and I did not have enough lead in my pants to get that thing started. It scared me to death. I had a BSA 441 Gold Star, not a Victor, a Gold Star. It was a street version, and that thing was just horrible. It was just horrible. I traded somebody a pistol for it, but I always liked the sound of those. And the guy that used to live across the street over here, he died, but he had a little Triumph 650 twin, and gosh darn it, I always liked the way those things sound. And in the 60s when I grew up, I had a motorcycle. I started off on these little Suzuki two-strokes, and there weren't the kind of bikes we have now. They just didn't have bikes like we have now. I think in 1969 they came out with that Honda 754, and it was like, oh my God. There was somebody that went to our high school that had an aerial square four cylinders in a square, and it had that sound, just, you know, that really cool sound to it. And I always liked those things, but they were just the Whitworth threads. They leaked oil. They were just, you know, the shifter was on the right instead of the left. You know, they were cool sounding, but they weren't put together as good as they could be now. And I'm hoping Royal Enfield got the rights to continue building it, and they've continued on with it since, I think they've been building motorcycles for Royal Enfield in India since around World War I. And there's some interesting history. I was checking all that stuff out, and it was like, wow. And this brand new bike is under $6,000, and they're going to be bringing them to Denver in June next month, I think, for some demo rides. And boy, the old gear started going. I thought, man, do I want to get another motorcycle? You know, because small motorcycle, that's a small motorcycle by today's standards, a 650. But that, you know, that's got enough power. It had enough power then. I'm sure it does now. It's fuel injected. It's got electronic ignition. That old Lucas Lucas Electrics was terrible back in the day on anything. They drove everybody crazy. But I was doing all that research, and I was getting all excited. I'm thinking, yeah, I'm going to get me another bike. And I thought, oh my God, are you absolutely out of your mind? You have trouble riding this in this kind of weather. Where am I going to carry my yoga stuff? Where am I going to put my groceries? When am I going to have the time to drive it along with all of these other cars? Who's going to pay for the motorcycle and the insurance and the license plates when I've got all of these other vehicles around here to take care of, park? Where am I going to keep it? Oh, finally, I came full circle with a smile. Now, the whole thing about anything that any of us do, we're all kids at heart, right? And we all love our motor toys and cars and trucks, but there comes a point where you just have to say, okay, if I'm going to get something new, I got to get rid of something. And I'm not ready to part with the stuff that I have, so I'm just not going to get it. And I got a feeling, too, that it's probably going to leak oil if it's by, you know, unless they really made some changes, which is a thing that irritates me. And, you know, the first year they come out with anything, they do a pretty good job of you know, research and development, but there's always problems that show up. And it seems like even with cars, you know, a new model comes out, new engine, new platform, it takes 2 or 3 years before the public beats them on them enough where all the problems come out and they start addressing those problems. You know, I mean, it's just that way with anything. And they spend millions and millions and millions of dollars research and development and manufacturing and testing all the stuff, and give it to the general public, and they'll do something with it. So at any rate, let's quit talking, and I want to see how this thing feels going around the lake with these big tires before I start committing to that chore. Yeah, cloudy skies, rain in the forecast. Sure makes a difference in the temperature when you got this humidity going. Looks like they got snow in the mountains. None of it'll stay too long. It's made for crying out loud. They're starting to fill the lakes back up with water. They're getting enough snow melt where that's happening. Surprised there's not fishermen down here at Boyd Lake, but it's cold. It says it's almost 50, but it sure feels like it's in the 30s. The tires aren't making that much noise. They seem to kind of flat spot a little bit. At 50 miles an hour, I'll just put in the clutch. They're not singing like some of these tires now. Those other tires, they have a lot more tread on them. They might whistle, and I don't like that, but we'll just have to decide whether we're going to do it or not. Like I say, I do like that kind of a toy cartoon look. So, you know, some things you do it for the cool factor, and other things there's different kinds of cool factors, you know what I'm saying? You just do stuff because you like it. Like the looks of it. Sometimes it's not exactly practical. Seem to hurt the performance. Takes right off. They do stick out a little wider. Miles an hour is 2,500 RPM. Okay, guys, I'm beat. I give up. It's starting to sprinkle again, cooling down, and I have spent the better part of the day wrestling these tires on and off with hand tools. And I think it's gonna be worth it, but I went for a little short putt with these steel tires, which I'm still keeping the steel wheel and tire for that sand rail on the side of the garage, and I can put these back on at any time. But I'm going to take these to a tire store. I can't get them to remount. It's too wide of a rim, that 10-inch rim. I just can't get it to spread. I tried the old trick of you take starting fluid and you spray a little of that in there. I've done it and watched it done more than I've successfully done it myself, but I've seen it done successfully countless times in the sand where we'll catch some air, come down a little cockeyed, and blow the bead on a paddle tire. And you know, this has been a good tire, and it's still got some life left in it, but I just don't see myself needing to, this particular rim, due to the offset, it clears everything here, but the offset is different even than those steel wheels, and it doesn't fit on many cars very well. But I like that deep dish effect, and it gives a pretty cushy ride. I almost might say it's an unsafe ride because when you do hit some irregularities, I have to decide what's going to be the right tire pressure for this setup. But I think I'll take it next week over to one of the tire stores when they're not so busy. I have yoga class first thing tomorrow morning, so that's out of the question, and they're not open on Sundays. So yeah, this has just been part of the adventure, and I'm whooped. I am whooped. Yeah, it's all the tools. I put the soap bubbles. I tried all the things that I have used in the past, and you know, so far I'm not bleeding, and I think I'll quit while I'm ahead, you know. I should have been working on that exhaust or that clutch on the Baja, but it's just been cold weather here this week. And anyhow, I wanted to post up a video for you guys for your Saturday and your weekend, and for future views from my friends out there. So we're having fun with the tire swap and stuff, and that's where we're at. Thanks for watching. Thanks for subbing. EZGZ out. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and let me know in the comments what you think of my efforts here, if I'm just too crazy. I'll tell you one thing. This 10-inch aluminum wheel is lighter than this 8-inch steel wheel. I didn't weigh it. I usually do that kind of stuff, but it's by a noticeable amount for sure. So that will help, and essentially it's the same size tire that's on those steel wheels, and those things feel like they weigh a lot. Those are 10-inch steel wheels. I still have this one on over here. I think I'll put that other one back on and maybe go for a ride. It feels like it's starting to sprinkle out here, so clean up my mess and have a bite to eat and see what happens with the rest of the day. I'm tired. Maybe I'll just take a nap. Thanks for watching. Thanks for subbing. EZGZ out. I think I already did that part. I must be tired. See ya.